All right, let's lock in. Today we're talking about highs, lows, and trends. Last video we talked about candlesticks, how to read time frames, and what stock tickers are. Just an overall basic understanding for the basics in the beginning. All right, so now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about it. How do we identify highs and lows? So, like I said, my candles are blue and black. I like it like that. All right, so let's make this blue, and let's make this one black. I'm going to show you how to identify a high. So let's say this right here, and then let's make this blue. Make that black. Okay, so for a high, we want to see a two candlestick pattern. We want to see a blue and a black candle consecutively, okay? If it's a double blue, that's not my type of high. That's not my type. No Sirski. So like this right here, for example. Hold on. Blue, blue. This is not a high. All this blue, this is not a high until we reach here, okay? Blue candle, black candle. That's what we want to see. And the highest point of that is our high. So, in this case, where's the high point? Not here, but here. And this is perfectly okay. And I low-key did this on purpose because I do want to emphasize, if you see a blue and a black candle and the black wick is higher than the blue one, it's still a high, okay? And you'll see this a lot, and I hope you guys don't get confused on that. Where's a good example of this, right? Okay, this is like literally everywhere. So we see a blue candle and a black candle. The highest point of that is your high. So this will be your high. Now it's not gonna be like this every single time. That wasn't perfect, but you know what I'm saying. The highest point of that. All right, so boom. Here's a traditional example. Up candle, down candle. Highest point of that is your high. Literally think of it as something like this. I'm going to draw it out. Boom, boom. Okay, I'll do it again because I was asked. Boom, boom. That's it. All right, so how do we identify what a low is? Let's go back here. Let's go back down here. And let's see. We want to see boom. Let's draw some wicks here, some wicks there. Boom. Let's make that blue. All right. Essential C, but okay, so a low is two consecutive black candle, blue candle. If I see two blacks, I don't want it. Pause. But I want to see black candle, blue candle. Lowest point of that, lows. Think of it as something like this. Down, up. Lowest point of that, low. All right, let's delete that. So where's our low? It's not here because it's not the lowest point. It would be here. Boom. So we'll mark that as our low. Boom. Here's a perfect example right in front of our face. Down candle, up candle, lowest point of that, low. Boom, bam. It's literally that simple, okay? Now, like I said, you'll see traditional lows and untraditional like this. Let's mark out a traditional fade. And they still mean the same thing. Like, I'm saying traditional, non-traditional, they mean the same thing, okay? We want to see a down candle, up candle. The lowest point of the two candlestick pattern is your low, right? So we see down, up, lowest point of that, low. Boom, okay? So literally this right here. Down, up. It's that simple. All right, now let's get into trends and what they are. Actually, let's remove all of this. Sorry, guys. All right, so, let's delete that. How does the stock market move? It moves in trends. So you'll see in an uptrend, which will look something like this. Highs, low, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. Okay? And with that, okay. Think of a higher trend as like you throw a basketball across the court and it's going to keep on rolling. It's going to keep on bouncing until it hits the wall or something. Or let's say your car broke down and you have to put it in neutral. You got to get somebody to push the car, and if nobody's there to stop it, it's going to keep going. Same thing with the stock market, okay? A downtrend is the exact opposite. So we will see something like this. We'll see a high, a lower high, a lower low, lower highs and lower lows. Okay, something like this. We can see kind of a good little downtrend right here. Boom, bam, bam. Right? So you'll see highs right here. You'll see a low, a lower high, excuse me, a lower low, lower high, and lower low until we hit something, and then we change direction, which this will be called break of structure, which we'll get into next video. And then boom, we flip. Right? Now, I do want to emphasize that higher time frame holds higher power. So, for example, I'm on the 4-hour right now. If the 4-hour is bearish and the 15-minute is bullish, overall, we're still bearish. So don't think in your head like, damn, I'm going long or something. Like, no, we're still bearish. Think of it as somebody who's been playing a sport longer. So if I'm on the daily time frame, right? So if on the daily time frame we're in a downtrend, right? We see a high, a lower high, lower high here, and the 1 minute is in an uptrend. Who's the better player? The person who's been playing for a day or the person who's been playing for 1 minute? Same thing with the stock market, okay? Same thing. So the weekly time frame is going to have more of a stronger bias than the 15-minute or the 1 hour or the 4-hour. You feel what I'm saying? Because this is tracking an entire week of price action. Okay? So that's pretty much highs, lows, and trends. Okay, here I want to give you guys a perfect example on the charts. Like this is a textbook example. We see a high, low, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher low, high. See, textbook. Now, let's do a downtrend. Let's go to the 4-hour. Excuse me. All right, let's start here. Now, we see a high formed. Boom. We see a lower high right here. Boom. Up candle, down candle. That's a high. We see a high right here. A lower high. Boom. A lower high again. And boom. Textbook downtrend. Now, you'll have instances where it's not going to be clean like that every single time. For example, this right here. Let me remove all this. All right, so we see a high formed right here. We see another high. Even though this looks like consolidation, this is still a high, right? So even this right here, this is still an uptrend because it's not closing below this most recent low, okay? So this is still technically an uptrend. And it's the same thing with the downtrend, right? I want to find a good example of that. All right, you can see overall we're in a downtrend, right? Going from here, boom, highs, lower highs. Actually, let me make sure you guys can see that. All right, so we see a high, a lower high, lower lows, you know, textbook downtrend. Okay, and then we see a high, and we see this thing poke above this high, but since it didn't close, this is still a downtrend. Even though it's consolidating like this is still a downtrend until it fully broke above this most recent high. But that's for next video. We'll get into break of structure, but this is how trends move. Lower highs, lower lows if you're going in a downtrend. Higher highs, higher lows if you're going in an uptrend. All right, so I will see you guys next video.